Well, hi, thanks for talking.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? We're set to.
Yeah, we're doing good. So
I
obviously,
like your background way better than mine.
oh, thanks. Yeah, I can hide what's behind me. Well, it
I can hide in the closet. I got a closet.
works too. But it's nice to talk to you. Obviously, I have not seen Smile 2 because it isn't out yet. I think we'll do okay without that. I'm excited to see it though. But to start off, why don't you sort of talk about the character you play?
I play Morris. It's a great name, sort of a every guy kind of name, and he's an every guy kind of guy. He's this mysterious outsider who crosses paths with Sky Riley, who's Naomi Scott, who is the lead of the film, who is in the throes of the terror. That if you saw the first film, you know that there is a terror that is, to put it mildly, upends one's life. Put it quite mildly. So she's trying to figure this out. Her life is becoming increasingly unhinged by what she thinks she knows and what she doesn't know. This terror is building and building. And my character, Morris, he's, as what I loved about the guy, he's sort of a simple man. He's an ER nurse and but he has a dark past and that he has had an experience with this terror himself. And he's spent his time desperately trying to figure it out and learn about what it is. And he thinks he knows. And so when I cross paths with Sky, I try to help her and to help save her and to help save any further damage done by this mysterious, hideous darkness. And so the scenes that we have together are me trying to convince her that I can help her, trying to also educate her about what's going on, and then in the end, ultimately, try to help save her and frankly save humanity in the process.
Now, this is different in the sense that it's more public. It's not just her, I guess, running around different places. How does that kind of, I guess, change it in your in
You,
your
you
in your
mean
perspective?
because Sky's character is more of a
Yes,
public
because she's in
figure?
the public eye and it's not like,
Right.
oh, you're seeing
Well,
it
one
all.
of the genius things about the first one was that Sosie Bacon was just, yeah, she's living her own private life and this hell is happening. And the acting, the level of anxiety and terror that she sustained for so long in the film was what drew us in and what made that movie so successful. Naomi's task is to do the same thing on an even grander scale because this movie takes all of that went in the first and just ups the ante, ups the stakes. It's on a almost universal scale now, and her character, as you pointed out, is a public figure, and she's doing it in a context that is outside in public with others wanting things from her. So the terror, really, she doesn't know where it's coming from, and part of the terror of the terror is that what's real, what's not. I mean, that's a pretty common theme, but again, Parker Finn, the director and writer, has done such a genius job of keeping her character grounded. Like, this is what it would be like for a public person to be going through something so privately terrifying. And what is that mental struggle? What does that look like? And from her perspective, the people coming at her, who's real, who's not, what's a smile, what's not. Is she safe with her mother? Is she not? Is she safe in the world? So again, as you pointed out, for a public figure, it's beyond scary. And Naomi so beautifully carries that tension and that terror on such a bigger scale throughout the film. She's remarkable. Does a fabulous job.
Now, how did you become involved in this? I mean, was it an audition or did somebody ask you to do it? How did that sort of
Well,
happen?
I myself am a pop star, and I thought it'd be really cool if I had an opportunity to sing and dance in a film, but they just wouldn't let me. So I auditioned for Morris. I got the script, read the character. Somebody out there thought that a sort of a messy, anxious person would be right for me. I don't know why. I'm Anxiety is my thing. So no, I read this character, and there's something very sweet and human about him. He wants to help, and he's very smart, and he's extremely compassionate, and he is very focused. But there's something sad about him because of how this terror has impacted his life. But there's something really focused and intelligent, and he's really working hard to help. And I just loved his anxiety, and he just fit me like a warm blanket. And I guess Parker felt so too. And so I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to do it.
Talk about working with Naomi from an acting standpoint.
Fantastic. I did not know Naomi. I'd never met her. I knew of her work. And I was instantly blown away by just her presence, her intensity, how real she is. I mean, she's just a fabulous actor. But for me, an important thing at this point in my career is that I like to work with people who bring a level of generosity and integrity and intelligence. We all want to, but I guess as you get older and you do it more and more, there's a higher premium on that because you don't want to waste time
Right.
and you want to work with people that you enjoy. And that's almost always the case because I think actors by and large are lovely, but Naomi's really lovely. She's really smart and she's really poised and she's really generous. And she's so to get that right out of the gate, it was like, oh, this is going to be comfortable. This is going to be fun. Our scenes are intense. I have I had a lot of dialogue, and I'm going to pepper her with information, and that sometimes acting, not sometimes acting always is listening. And my job is to have the words. Her job is to listen. And that's she and I are doing the scene 50-50. And she is a great listener in that kind of scene. And she's just game. I mean, we went till like 4 in the morning and she's outlasting crew, she's outlasting everybody. And committed 100%. It's a relentless film. It's relentlessly scary, and she has to live that. And there wasn't a second that she was not 100% committed. And I just have just nothing but awe for her. She's fabulous, and you'll see when you see the film. She's a star. She carries this thing, and
Now,
not anybody could do it.
yeah. Now, are you normally a horror person? I don't, at least I haven't seen you in a lot of horror in any rate, because I know you've
Um,
really, well, Fear the Walking Dead, though, I guess that is horror,
yeah,
but
I got to kill some zombies. I had a pretty decent zombie kill for a rabbi.
yeah.
Um, No, I'm not a horror person in my career. I did a movie called The Midnight Meat Train with Bradley Cooper decades ago. That was a horror film, a gory horror film. I worked on House's medical team, which some would say would be a horror show unto itself, but in the best way. Yeah, I saw a lot of blood and guts in a medical show. I'm in a lot of legal dramas, and that's horrifying in its own way. But no, I'm being silly. The horror genre, I've never been in an actual horror film, certainly not in a film of this scale. And I just loved it. I would love to do more. And again, because of the talent and finesse of Parker, the writer and director, the experience of it was like anything else. And I say that in a complimentary way because, again, it comes down to character and relationship. And when that's real and human, then you've got your terror. You don't have it just by a jump scare here and a jump scare there. You can't do it in a thin way. It's got to be real, and the audience has to really believe people and relationship. That's what we care about. And therefore, we can then be scared. And Parker kept it down on that level for us so that we were getting something very real. And that meant that the horror was going to be absolutely hideous. So the experience was one with a wonderful director and writer and a wonderful actor, and the rest did the work itself.
Are you someone though who watches horror movies, or are you like me, scared of most things? I'm okay if it's like supernatural stuff like this, but
Yeah, I'm a sci-fi guy. I am definitely like you. I'm scared of everything. I mean, on screen and off. And well, I don't know if you're scared of everything off screen. I am. I don't gravitate towards it, but if somebody says this is a smart, good, scary film instead of just a scary film, I will watch it because I don't want to just be scared just to be scared. I'm a little for that. I want to be scared because the relationship and the character and the situation creeps me out, and I know that I'm in the hands of a good film. And so I'll watch, and I don't think there's a lot of that out there, frankly, to be honest. I think that's why Smile made its mark, and this one will, I think, make an explosion because it's real and it's coming from a real place. So this movie I would love to watch. I would love to be as terrified as you will be when you see it in the theater.
what kinds of, you just made me curious though, what kinds of other horror movies have you liked? Like I'm just scared if they're like I don't need that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I get scared when I remember when Friday the 13th or Friday the 13th, no, Nightmare on Elm Street. That came out when I was a teenager. And that movie, I remember I was like, wait a minute, this is not fair because suddenly like like he's coming to you in your dreams and like if you don't know what's real, I was like, wait a minute now. I can't like when I go to sleep tonight, now I'm terrified. And I was kind of angry because I was like, you've now blasted out the boundaries. So I felt that the movies that followed that copied that sloppily. this movie, what's great about Smile is that that edge between what's real and what's not, that Sky is just desperately trying to manage and figure out. It's a wonderful thing to have in a horror film, but it's got to be done with integrity and it's got to be done in a real way. And this movie leans on that insecurity and it does it in a completely legitimate, scary way. The writing and the acting combined between those two allow us to really not be sure what's real and what's not without just crappy jump scares. It's very real and therefore very terrifying. So that is a movie that I would, if I saw I mean, I was interested in Smile, the first one, because of that, loved it because of that. I mean, I grew up on movies like The Shining, The Exorcist. Those were reinventing horror. Now there's a lot of horror, but if I sense that it's more than just gimmicky and it's really deeply humanly scary, then I'll go for it. I'll watch it.
That makes sense. Well, in this film, was there anything in particular from like an actor? I cannot talk today, can I?
That's right. Neither can I. Just nobody
Perspective,
can. But I understand.
from an actor's perspective that you struggled with doing with the role. I don't know how, it's hard for me to ask specifics without having seen it, but was there
Yeah.
anything you found difficult?
Um, Well, blocking is always hard for me. I mean, I can't give anything away, but there's certain, what I'm trying to help Sky survive, and that requires certain activities and which required certain manually dexterous uh things for me to be able to do. And, having been on house medical drama for 5 years, you learn how to sort of do this all at once and act and be in the moment and also do something else. And there's a little bit of that required in this. And it was a little bit challenging. I haven't been on house in years, and that kind of, again, this thing was a little bit hard to find, but I found it again. And it's not actually scary because there's a million people around while you're shooting it,
Yeah.
and you're shooting it, so you're on the other side.
You
But
know your name too.
there's some dark scenes I had to hit. I was more scared that I wouldn't hit my mark because the lighting was so low, and I didn't want to mess everything up and keep people from getting lunch. That was the scariest part for me.
That's fair. Now you've done a variety of different kinds. Like you said, this is your first horror, but what's something like you'd still love to do? Like, do you have like a dream role or a type of role or just something that you'd really like to get to?
I was talking about this the other day. Just, as actors, we often get stuck. I mean, stuck isn't necessarily a good word because there's a beauty in playing who you are. And
Yeah.
what typecast makes sense. That's how the business works. But I used to, when I was younger, I was like, well, I should be playing the romantic surfer lead. And then I was like, no, I shouldn't, because that's really not me. And that's a good thing. I have a certain energy and things that I do and know and do well. And I've made a career out of that, and I feel lucky. That being said, there is a level of, if I'm going to play another lawyer or a doctor or sort of a regular guy who's anxious, I'd love a chance to really carry it to the nth degree. Something like a character like in Breaking Bad. I mean, Bryan Cranston, this is one of the great characters of all time. Here's a mild-mannered character. That's somebody that I might play, a teacher, but who's got a dark side that's not just dark. It's like
Layered.
way dark and doing things that he never would have expected him to do. That's the genius of that show. You see him realize just how out of bounds he is. And I don't often get a chance to go so out of bounds, be it some just crazy drug-induced insanity or just insanity-induced insanity, and just to stretch the boundaries of the sort of, I'm often wearing a tie, which is what I love about being in Smile, because this guy doesn't wear ties. He's pretty downtrodden. So that was fun. And if I'm going to be in a tie and a suit, I want to be a guy in a suit and a tie who's really out there.
That makes sense. Have you ever wanted to write or direct your own project?
I have, and I'm working on it. I'm not really a writer, but I'm, conceiving of two different shows that I've been conceiving with writing partner and producer, and we're developing both. And to be on the other side of it is really wonderful because I've, only ever come at it through the inside as an actor for 30 years. So to be commenting and looking and adjusting and debating from the outside is a wonderful experience. So I look forward to that part of my career when I'm have that kind of input, and I'm hopefully creating something that I'm also playing that I've had full input on who he is.
That's always a good
But I've
thing.
been lucky. I've been worked with some just amazing writers, so I've been happy to ride on their words forever.
Do you have any other projects that you can promote that are coming up that you're allowed to talk about quickly?
Well, yeah, I just shot an independent film called Welcome to the Fishbowl, with some terrific actors. And I did that just wrapped that a little while ago, and that will be coming out. That's an independent feature. But these are just in the can, so it might be a while.
Thanks, Mom.
And another independent film I'm going to work on next week. And I can't talk too much about it. And but no, nothing like Smile. That's my jam right now. That's as big as it gets. So I'm pushing that.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it once it's out.
Good, good. Don't be scared. I mean, be scared. Be
Yeah, I was
very,
gonna
very,
say
very
you want
scared.
to be scared somewhat. So,
Oh, you will
all
be. You will be, believe me.
right, all right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate it.